my 40th birthday, my husband very sweetly got me a record player, and it was an opportunity to get out all my records from when I was younger and to have a reminder of what was my first record. Was it Adam and the Ants? Was it Kajagoogoo, Too Shy Shy? Anyway, any which way, I have found that I've wrote my name on the back of them just to make sure that my brother or sister didn't get their hands on them. It's always lovely when friends come round and I get all my records out and we have a rummage through looking at all the old LPs and singles and have a remember about who had what record when. And we have a drink and we listen to some music and then we go around the corner for dinner.
I don't really stop decorating the cottage throughout the whole of December, so that by the time Christmas comes around, there's not a wall or a table or a shelf that isn't covered with some sort of Christmas decoration. On the tree, it's colourful, it's camp, it's kitsch. When I look back, decorating the tree was always one of the most exciting bits of being a child, and that's never sort of left me. And doing this and creating a different look and feel of a tree every year seems to somehow capture that magic and excitement of being a child at Christmas. One of my favourite new decorations is this sun from Choosing Keeping. Decorations get mixed together alongside things that I've made, paper, stars and paper chains, for example. This sun, a little tin decoration that Dan picked up in Mexico about 20 years ago. This decoration that was made in memory of my granddad and was given to all members of our family when he died. I find it hard to be tasteful at Christmas. I think there's too much going on, there's too much colour, there's too much noise and activity and events and stories. Trying to make sense of all of that in a sort of tasteful, considered way just feels like too much of a hard task for me.
In here is what we call the den, and it's a den for all the family for different reasons. The dogs love going in there for a nice quiet snooze. The children like being in there. They can be in there with friends and have a quiet time. I love nothing better than being in there in the evening after a long day. And there's something about a windowless room that could have disadvantages, but I actually think it's rather wonderful because you can just forget about whatever's going on outside and not feel guilty about just having a quiet moment with the television, and it's very, very relaxing. Our wonderful decorator looked slightly crestfallen when I showed him this inspiration by Gavin Houghton, the decorator, of his Moroccan beautiful house with red striped ceiling, and that I wanted to replicate that here but with blue stripes. And he was really up for it and he did a fabulous job. And I am so pleased and grateful that he did, because it adds a surprise and an element of energy to the room that wouldn't be there otherwise.
I came here towards the end of 2019 and it was way too big. And
so this is my favorite place in the house.
These pictures are what I'm most proud of in our world, except of course for the people in the pictures.
This is all Blondie. He has bought the most special frames and chosen every single picture that's up here. So this is the kids' bedroom for 3 of the kids. We wanted it to be super cozy, happy, fun place that they were excited to go to sleep every night.
Now is the time to speak of the bedroom, which used to be better. This mirror used to be a TV on which we could watch anything. Anything at all.
Ugliest TV you've ever seen.
And it's massively missed. It's left a massive TV-shaped hole in this room, frankly.
Which we filled with a mirror that makes the room seem twice as big. Yeah, it's really nice. It's so much better. Are you kidding me?
The bed is inspired by Ray Winston's bed in Sexy Beast.
And we tried to find one like it, and there's nothing like that out there. So we found a furniture lady, and she made it for us.
Believe it or not, we were tidying up last night. This isn't how the place normally looks. We have several children. These are the scripts of my show, my TV show, which will come out probably about the same time as this video. Jen got me that piece of Arthur memorabilia, the 1981 Dudley Moore, John Gielgud film. And I look at that, or I did look at that rather, when editing the show. I would roll out of bed about 6 in the morning and sit there with my computer there, analysing the milliseconds and looking up every now and then over the lid of the computer at Dudley and John Gielgud, saying, almost as if they were saying,
Keep going.
everything's going to be all right. I love that, thank you. All of my best things are gifts from you. I have one more place to show you, but it's just up the road from me. Bye.
So this is the garage of the house I built over the last 2 years. I live here with my two daughters, 5 and 2, Matilda and Tabs, and my other half, Stephanie. I suppose this was the room with all my passions in. I'm a passionate car collector and restorer. I don't restore it myself, I wouldn't drive anything I restored. But I suppose the passions of the past as well. Everything from the powerboat racing records to the flying of Spitfires. This is what I always say, sort of fashion pays for the passion, and the passion has over the years been some quite exciting stuff. This is my first ever Mille Mille, which we completed with Yasmin Le Bon. This is a 1,000-mile race in Italy. I always wanted to build a car for that race, and this was the car we built. It's a 1954 XK120. Up there we have the engineers. They worked on the car 2,800 hours working on the car. Yeah, it's all kind of supposed to do with the racing that I love to do, that I used to do more until the 2 girls came along.
I think I bought this house around 10 years ago. It's been 8 years that I'm living here. Before, it was an old factory. On my way to upstairs, you would see, actually it's my portrait. I know it feels a bit megalomaniac, but it's not. It was an important photo shoot at the beginning of my career, and I wanted to celebrate the beginning of my journey at Barma. So this is a picture that was my profile. I mean, it was, I think, maybe 10 years ago. At the beginning of my career, I was like going all around Paris and trying to always find unique and special pieces. So basically I went with him and we found this incredible piece. I loved the mix of history mixed with modernity. In my house you will see something really modern, the marble like really futuristic in somehow. This palm tree feels like really south of France. It could feel a bit LA, a bit Marrakesh. So I love that kind of feeling and I love bringing that energy in my house. All my friends say, you're crazy, Olivier. You're in the middle of Paris and you want a huge palm tree. I'm like, I have 1,000 square meters. Let's make it happen. Welcome to my living room. This is the space that I'm spending the most time in because as you can see, it's really peaceful. So I really try to create that kind of space where people can just feel relaxed. Actually, the couch took really long because they're made of velvet, and this is the velvet that I'm using for my ready-to-wear. What I love the most about my kitchen is this table. As you can see, it's like a long table that is floating in the air. If you look at the bottom of the table, you will see that it's like made of glass as well, so it feels like the wood is flying.
So the drawing room, the room I come to every evening after dinner, especially in the winter, it's gorgeous with the open fire. The fireplace, that was from up in Yorkshire. He cast that especially for this room. It's probably my favourite room. And I suppose the standout feature here, the studio green. I always try and have a feature colour. At my old houses, it was railings by Farrow & Ball. The studio green wanted to bring the greenness from Richmond Park into the house and the greenness of the garden. And the studio green was the colour I decided having a lot of spaces. The controversial area of painting the ceiling same colour. Not many people do that, but I absolutely love that, and people tell me it really, really stands out and it's a lovely feature, and I'm sure they will do the same. A lot of sort of bits I've bought, again, throughout the year. We've got the chest, the old desk that we work from, the antique tea chest, which I've had for, I think this is the third or fourth house this has been in. And then this is an old carpenter's that's a workbench. It's a big unit, but it's very unique, and I always knew I'd have a house eventually that I could put this in. You see, it's an old carpenter's bench because he used to put the screws on the outside to know which screw. Obviously a very organised carpenter. But I've always loved that piece. The downstairs bathroom was where I think we dared to be even more adventurous.
This is the hall, that kind of connects all the rooms, and it's also where the staircase going upstairs goes from. The walls are completely covered in my husband's Uncle Matty's drawings. There were like loads of books like this that he did, painted it like so beautifully and delicately. I really love that he could sort of be a part of this house. So thank you, Uncle Matty. This is just a big basket of walnuts. There's loads of them on the farm, and there's like 5 more baskets just like this, and it's filled all the way down, and like there's more to come, so I'm not sure what we're going to do with them all, but yeah, we sort of eat them and cook with them and do different things. Also quite like it as a object in an interior. Anyway, let's go upstairs. This is
it's evolved since we did our project at home. These kind of teals, the light kind of duck egg blues and things, we've definitely got a lot of at home, but I definitely don't have blue walls and a yellow ceiling at home. I think this was a kind of bolder choice, and I'm really happy with how it's turned out. We retained a lot of existing furniture in here. We got new tables, but a lot of the sofas, that sofa's old, these two are new. We've got a lot of older chairs that we've recovered. I'm obsessed with the fabric on those there. I think it's the idea that drawing inspiration from nature and probably what is a more traditional design, a traditional kind of botanical print, but this metallic, almost metallic sheen that comes with the velvet, I think is kind of gives it a slightly more contemporary feel. These sconces we've retained, they were here, they've been with the house for a long time. There was a big question mark as to whether to retain them, but yeah, I think they work really well in here. I didn't want to come in and kind of get rid of all the history and everything that was here. I love the idea of retaining some of the old stuff, but injecting some new stuff amongst it to freshen it up. And yeah, you want to nod to the period features of the property. So Cromlix was a mansion house, Victorian mansion house that was built in the late 1800s. It was always family owned, which I think is really interesting, and I love that because it's family owned now. That's really important to us, and I've always wanted it to feel first and foremost like a home as opposed to a hotel. The house was built late 1800s. It was actually destroyed by fire. I think it was about 1876, and it was rebuilt. And the one part of the house that wasn't destroyed by fire, I'm going to show you now. This space used to be our reception. We've painted it red. It's a kind of foyer into the bar, into the restaurant. I absolutely love the colour in here. I love the idea of having a piano in here. Not that I can play it, but it's the most social of all the instruments. It's, whether we've got a jazz pianist in here on a Friday night before dinner or after a wedding or on New Year's Eve, someone's banging out Auld Lang Syne. We've got some amazing art, some of it local Scottish artists, and some of it was Andy's own collection that he bought for Cromlix. David Shrigley, Scottish artist that he absolutely adores, and I think it just works so well against the radicchio on the walls. I'm chuffed with the drama in here and the kind of sense of fun, but it provides an amazing backdrop for some really interesting pieces of art. We've got this incredible Damien Hirst on the stairs, which again just feels like it was made to be here. Through that door is our amazing new bar, and then into our restaurant.
So this is our hall, stroke dining room, stroke lobby, stroke where we keep our vintage bits when we bring them into the house and we've been at flea markets. This originally was 4 different rooms that we ripped out because we wanted to create a really large entertaining space. We acquired this table from friends of ours who used a reclaimed factory top from somewhere in Eastern Europe and then put it on legs for us. When we cleared out the hall, we firstly discovered that it was a huge space, but we also took out all of the 60s suspended ceilings and found some amazing stained glass, which was a very good day on the renovation. But I did know with this level of space that we needed some really big light fittings. I was scrolling Pinterest and saw these giant rattan lamps, which after a lot of internet stalking, I discovered were made in Malawi.
So this room is what I rather grandly call my library. The only reason I'm allowed to call it that is, I guess, because I have a couple of books on the shelf. I love this room. I think it's an incredibly calming space. The colour's fantastic, I think. This is definitely my favourite room in the house. I just think it's such a nice space to unwind. This picture of me and my dad is from the first ever Bowden catalogue. Johnny Bowden lived with my parents at university and drafted in my dad and I. And when they did the second version of the catalogue, they actually had to print a disclaimer in the back of the issue, which just simply said, to all the women writing in about the model on page 64, he is in fact married. So basically, please stop harassing us. And I think that's really sweet. So he lives there. Slightly less sweet is my great aunt, who we see up here. When I did put her up here, my granny came round and then she saw this and she went, oh, auntie. Gosh, she was a bit of a nymphomaniac. She used to Roger all the staff. And I thought that was kind of brilliant. So my nymphomaniac great aunt stays up there, pride of place, looking down on us all, looking very, very seductive and sultry. Over here we have the Ludwig wall. So Ludwig II of Bavaria is one of my favourite historical characters. He was this kind of slightly insane last king of Bavaria who spent the entire country's budget on building these incredible castles. I've been obsessed with him for a long time, and so we cut out this book and made this incredible montage, which I love. And then over here we have this mirror. I was very impatient and sending sort of 100 links to mirrors every single day, and he was going, Benedict was going, no, we'll find the right one, we'll find the right one, we'll have the right one with the right amount of foxing, the right shape, the right era. And eventually he showed me this one from Alma Antiques, and I just fell in love with it instantly. And the minute it went up, I knew he was completely right to have made me wait